He came to town. I went to see it. Had a good time. Um, but he had this bit that he was talking about God and 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 talking to an atheist about it. And the atheist was like, I don't believe in God. And he was like, why? He's like, never seen him. Don't believe in none I never seen. Paul Mooney says, okay, that's cool. You ever seen a thought? He's like, the atheist like, man, fuck you. But that's the truth. You get what I'm saying? In essence, that's why God is real. They say they make man in our image. Well, here's the thing. The world was created on a thought. That's the premise of it. We are created in God's image. That's the premise of it. We can use our minds to create things that aren't tangibly here. But when we're done, they can be here. That's the premise of God. That's the premise of the belief of God being real. Same thing with the thought. Same thing with oxygen. You can't see it. You ain't never seen oxygen. So, but you can see the principles of what oxygen is because somebody thought it out. And they can take that and compress it into a can, even though we don't need it in a can, but some people do. You know what I'm saying? But that creation itself. Same thing with reproduction. Other thing is, we ain't seen no other life nowhere else. And there ain't no reason to believe that for some odd reason, this is all just a big misunderstanding. Nah, it's meant to be. Because it's things on this planet that'll be here long after I'm gone, long after you're gone, that have been here long before I got here, long before you got here. And obviously, the connection you have with self, I ain't talking about other people really. The connection you have with self, it's not just animalistic instinct all the time. And everybody knows that. Because there's certain things that go on within you, within your thought process, within your feelings, that are beyond just hunger, fear, anger, stuff like that, or sex drive. It's other things that go on. You don't need those other things if it's just animalistic, you don't. But atheists do have a point. Atheists have a point because atheists point out the bullshit that us as people who believe in God do. Because we as a whole say we believe in God, but we don't actually practice the things and the principles that are supposed to be godly. We kind of like, do what the fuck we want to do and then say, God, my bad. But I'm going to do it again tomorrow, but my bad. And that's bullshit. And sometimes you look at the stories in the Bibles and the way they've been used or the way they've been told, or when you have to get to the bottom of 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 it, to the point where when you get to the real story, it's like, where the fuck you get this from? You know what I'm saying? So it's been tainted by people for the long haul for so long that it's not believable. It's just like somebody telling you a lie and you passing that lie on to 10 other people, or telling you the truth and you passing it on to 10 other people. It's so misconstrued by the time you get it, you ain't gonna believe shit nobody got to say. No way. So I can understand why atheists don't believe in God, because for one, we as people who believe in God been just fucking it up, and for two, just the principle on how most people can't pass on the truth they just gotta embellish it. But That didn't sit well with my soul just now. I'm gonna just say that, even though I felt that honest. But anyway, um, past that, here's the thing. Let's get to this. God is about principles for us people. And the things we believe in as people are ironically, like some people believe there's other forms of life. If you can believe in other forms of life, then you should be able to believe in God, because you could believe that a motherfucker could come from another solar system in a flying saucer and land here and be able to breathe the oxygen just like we can. That's anyway. I mean, people believe that um, when we die, that's it. And then all of a sudden, get nervous about dying, get holy, want to feel something. Like, no. Why? Because you've been feeling it all along. You know, some of the human emotion ain't just human. Sometimes it's something else, and that something else is spiritual, and that spiritual thing is God. It is what it is. You know, you looking at me right now, I got thoughts in my head, you can't see them. That's true. I'm breathing right now, you can't see the air. That's true. I'm talking, and you don't see the words coming out of my mouth, but you understand them. That's true. So if you could know there's air, know there's thought, and know that there are words coming out of our mouth and don't see them, you could believe in God. I mean, you can see the mountains. That's proof, because the mountains are here, and how the fuck they get here? Like, what do we need them for? Like, who made them? Somebody had to make them. The ocean. Somebody had to make the ocean, right? You know, the earth itself, which was, if most people pay attention, which was mostly connected, was not connected anymore, and it's just spread apart. That ain't just no damn volcano. I'm sorry. You know, other things. You know, like how is it that we can communicate with people who don't even know our language? Think about that. We have certain things that we're all connected as. We're interconnected, intertwined. So if we're intertwined, we got to be intertwined from something. We have to have a connection from something. That connection comes from somewhere. But they still have a point. Atheists still have a valid point. Because faith is believing in something and not seeing it. And sometimes we act like we have faith, but we don't have it. But faith comes not by sight, but by hearing. What have you been hearing lately? Question. You feel me? So, you've been hearing people who believe and don't believe and flip-flopping and blah, 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 you know. It is what it is. So I think every form of religion has its place. And I think atheism, even though it's not a form of religion, is kind of a form of religion, because I think it's all intertwined. I think Christianity has its place. I think Islam has its place. I think Judaism has its place. I think Buddhism has its place. I think all these things have their place. And I think, you know, the one thing about atheists is atheists have the unique ability to call somebody on some bullshit. They do. They do. They say, that don't sound quite right. That just don't make sense. And some of the things that they say don't make sense. They just don't. Not as in it's in the Bible and it makes sense. No, as in the principle of it. You feel me? Because everything written in the Bible, you gotta watch it, cause you gotta realize who wrote some of that stuff and why they wrote it the way they wrote it. So they make sense when they talk about that stuff. They do. Person gonna tell you, well, the Bible says this. Okay, which version? Okay, the King James version. Okay, forget the King. Okay, what about the version before that? I don't know. What about the version before that? I don't know. What about the version before that? I don't know. Well, you need to know before you answer those questions. It is what it is. And atheists serve as a great purpose to get you, if you really believe, to get into what you really believe, to back up what you believe. I mean, you don't have to use the Bible as it. That's why I was using other references, because the same way people can't explain God to an atheist can't explain the makeup of this earth the way it is without anything. You get what I'm saying? It's not all, it's just science. Scientifically speaking, where the fuck did science come from? A thought. Okay, I'm out. I'm gonna just keep it at that. Peace.